Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk kind of generally about the classes, as well as go into some of the specifics of leveling, as well as gaining new skills. I won't be going too much into the individual classes themselves, as I'm a big proponent of getting your hands on them and seeing how you like it, rather than just relying on word of mouth. With that out of the way, let's get into it. BDO has tons of classes, and for a new player it can become very overwhelming very quickly when trying to figure out what you want to main. I highly recommend trying all of them until you find something that you really like, as you'll spend a lot of time on them, whether it be grinding or PvP. There are definitely some classes that people would consider top tier, but keep in mind with one balance patch this can change very quickly. So choose something you like the look and feel of. But also don't feel like you're locked into that class forever. What adds even more variety is each class has two versions, an Awakening and Succession, with the exception of Shai and Archer. The Awakening spec is unlocked at level 56 after a short quest, and it uses an Awakening weapon unique to your class with a set of skills separate from your pre-awakened kit, which can switch up the entire playstyle of the class. It also bases 70% of your damage on your Awakening AP, with 30% being calculated from your standard AP. You can use both skills from your Awakening and pre-awakening respectively, with the majority of your damage coming from your Awakening skills. Now Succession reverses this. It also unlocks at level 56 after your Awakened questline. It uses only your main hand weapon and improves on your pre-awakened skills, turning some of them into prime skills. It bases 70% of the damage on your main hand AP and 30% on your Awakened AP, with the majority of damage coming from the prime skills rather than the absolute skills. You also cannot access your Awakening skills or weapon when in Succession. When referring to your level in this game, people are almost always referring to your combat level, which is the big number you'll see in the top left of your screen. A few important milestones to note are level 50 when you unlock PvP and the ability to be killed by other players, level 56 when you unlock Awakening Succession, level 60 when you unlock the ability to unlock all the skills and their max rank for your class, minus the select few passives. You do still need to worry about the skill points to actually level them though. You typically want to stop worrying about your combat level at level 61 when the XP to get to the next level steps up decently, but with the XP most modern grind spots give, level 62 isn't much of a challenge anymore. Rumor has it there is a level cap somewhere, but considering the highest level players are only level 66 with a recent level 67, good luck getting there anytime this century. You can gain combat XP by doing quests in the main story, doing side quests with the Jenga Tome of Wisdom, and of course the biggest source, grinding. When leveling to 61, I highly recommend Polly's Forest in order to top gold the combat EXP and the skill EXP at the same time. Some other great spots for combat XP are Miramach Ruins, beginner Elvia zones like Baragi Den and Altar Imps, Desert Fogans, Sulphur Mine, which will also net you a nice profit while leveling, Star's End, and the easiest method, of course, is asking your guildies to party up with you and power level you / let you leech EXP. The other thing about level 61 is most leveling challenge rewards related to seasons also stop there. So in order to get most of the rewards, it also ends up being the sweet spot to stop focusing combat XP on your season character. In order to level up your skills, you will need skill points. Every monster you kill gives you skill XP, with some giving more than others. Spots where you can kill lots of monsters very quickly are way better for skill XP because of this. The long-reigning champion for best skill XP was Polly's Forest and Kama Sylvia. This is now closely rivaled by many of the Valencia spots like Sulphur Mines and Crescent Shrine, but Polly's Forest does still have a decently crowded population at the start of every season due to its long-time crown. An honorable mention for skill XP is Blood Wolves and Dragon, as it does have decent skill XP but can also drop one of the 3 pieces required for the infinite HP potion. Seasons are also great for skill points because they give an item called Secret Book of the Misty Breeze that grants a lot of skill points upon use. When grinding skill points, you need to make sure you stack as many EXP buffs as you possibly can in order to prevent the process from consuming all of your time in this game. I personally recommend the Combat and Skill XP 530 scroll that you can get from the Loyalty Shop, a 90% Skill XP scroll that you can get from combining 3 30% Skill XP scrolls from daily login rewards, a Blessed Message scroll, a simple cron meal, and finally any food or event related items that offer a lot of skill XP buffs. All of these stack together so you can run them at the same time in order to ensure that you get the most out of your time when grinding. At 1600 skill points, you will notice the amount you gain per hour starts to drop significantly. This is what is considered the soft cap for skill points, but for most classes you will still have to push past this point, so don't worry about it too much as a roadblock. Skill add-ons are used to buff your skills by boosting your stats temporarily. You'll typically want them on your most used PvE or PvP skills so you can keep them up at all times. Each skill gets 2 add-ons, with certain skills giving better buffs than others. You unlock a skill add-on slot at level 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, and 60 for a total of 6 slots. These can be changed at any time by a skill instructor in cities. A good place to look for some recommended add-ons is the class discords, but ultimately the choice of what you want to choose is totally up to you. In fact, the discords highly encourage customization, so play around with whatever you like. Rabams, also sometimes referred to as skill enhancement, combines skills from your pre-awakening to make a new skill that might have new effects, protections, or CCs. They typically aren't your biggest damage dealers, but can still be important for your overall gameplay, especially in PvP. It really does vary from class to class, so I encourage you to look at guides specific to your class for more information on what to choose and when to use it. In Awakening, you have a select few core skills that will either add a CC or a protection to a skill. They unlock at level 60 and do cost a decent amount of skill points to spec on top of already needing the skill spec, so I recommend saving it until you have your most important skills leveled up and then choosing one. It's ultimately up to you which one you want to choose, but I highly recommend perusing the class discords in order to find the ones that most people would recommend and in what situation they recommend them. Black Spirit Rage skills are special skills that activate based on the percentage of Black Spirit Rage you have stored up. Certain classes have awakening skills at 10, 25, and even 50% rage that can knock people off their horses as well as do a considerable amount of damage. The real ones most people use though are the 100% skills that will not only do a new animation that does lots of damage and give you huge buffs, but also some classes have a 200% that is actually useful, like Succession Berserker. One thing to note is that as cool as some of the 200% skills are, they do have a 30-minute cooldown to prevent abuse. You can also transfer the Black Spirit Rage to other people in your party or platoon, which is how you bypass the maximum Black Spirit Rage in order to reach that 200% mark. If you don't end up using it for skills or feel that they can leave you open, you can also consume it to give you a buff like the one you get for using your 100% skill. Questing is essential, whether it's the main questline or the simplified questline for seasoned characters when you've unlocked it. They feature many great benefits like gear, inventory slots, pets, and other miscellaneous rewards. I know those of you who don't like questing are going to hate me for this, but on your first character I highly recommend questing up through the Valencia 1 main story quest. This also helps to unlock the simplified quest chain for future season characters, as well as many stacks, pets, and such. There is also a suggested quest tab in your quest menu that I highly recommend looking at, as it has quests set aside specifically for pets, inventory slots, and other rewards. I would also recommend, while you're doing the main questline, to have a horse, as it speeds things up significantly. One way to level your character besides grinding is to do quests from 56 to 61. This does still take a decent amount of time, and it's not my preferred method since you won't have any skill points and will still have to grind them separately. But if you maybe need to do it for seasons or for a character you don't care about or something else, you want to do the questline The Adventurer's Tome regarding the Legend of Chenga in order to get the Chenga Tome of Wisdom, which makes quests give 30% more combat XP on completion, which speeds up leveling drastically. Before, when I said you're not tied to a specific class, that's because there are a few mechanics to help with letting you try out classes or bring your gear over to them. The biggest one of them is the tagging system, where you're able to tag 2 characters together, making them share the exact same location in game no matter where you go, and most importantly, lets you copy your gear to the tag character for a cost that depends on the level of the gear. One thing to note is that gear copy cost is based on your weapon level and nothing else, and when you make any large gear upgrades, you will have to re-tag your gear in order to make those reflect on the tag character. In order to unlock gear tag, there is a short quest called Marnie's Suspicious Device from the Black Spirit in its suggested quest tab. This feature is great when you want to try a class but you're not sure if you're ready to hard commit to it by rolling your weapons over. A lot of people use this system if they have a main class that is weak in PvE, as it lets them use their main in PvP but not completely waste their time when grinding mobs. The gap between classes has definitely been brought down since the recent class reboot at the end of 2021. However, there are definitely some people who still prefer to have the best of the best. Another way of bringing your gear over to another character is reroll coupons. This turns your weapons into ones specific to the class you want to use them on. This is the most destructive way to try out a new class, and it definitely pigeonholes you into playing that class until you can tag something else. So I highly recommend not using these unless you're absolutely sure you want to play that class. I highly recommend tagging first, as it'll give you a great opportunity to try out the class before fully committing. You can often find these as a season reward or sometimes on the Pearl shop, although I highly recommend avoiding buying them from the Pearl shop, as 3 coupons will add up to $90. Coming from a serial reroller, I can tell you it adds up very quickly, so probably just stick to tagging. The community has created a ton of discords for each class that I'll link in the description below. These discords are full of guides on how to grind with each class, how to PvP on them, usually have full in-depth guides on how to play the class in general, and are often filled with players that you can ask for nice advice. These discords are run, however, by other players, so don't take everything they say as final, as sometimes these discords can become a feedback chamber of bad advice, or people just generally complaining about their class. The community tries really hard to prevent this from happening, but it is something you need to be aware of. Plus, the more you play the game and learn about it, the better you'll be able to evaluate the information they present. At the end of the day, I do still highly recommend these, as they're a good starting place when trying out a new class, and they can catch you up to speed really quickly. Shai is a very unique class in BDO. It was originally introduced as a non-PvP class and had some life skill and RP elements to it. Unfortunately, that's a style of class that isn't really made for BDO, since the game is so fast paced and does have a large amount of PvP oriented content. Shai does make a pretty decent support class in large scale PvP, but she's not that common. Where you will see Shais is in endgame party spots like Oluns, where they offer really good buffs for grinding. Shai also cannot do the pen guaranteed quest line at the time of writing, as they cannot make a guaranteed pen talent weapon, as well as you cannot tag an awakening weapon over to Shai to make the soul equivalent. Unfortunately, Shai doesn't seem to be changing to adapt to the current direction of the game, so just know that if you're picking Shai, you're fine with the way she is, because the devs are intent on not building that class out. At the end of the day, I don't hate Shais, or I don't think you should just not pick Shai in general, but I do want you to be aware of what you're picking and what you're getting yourself into before you get too far into the game. Thank you so much for watching the video today, and I hope you have a little bit better idea of how leveling works in this game, as well as how the awakening, succession, and pre-awakening specs work. Again, I didn't go too much into detail about the individual classes, as I highly encourage you to check them out for yourselves, and I hope to see you in the next video.